This is lesson 2.8, Literal Equations and Dimensional Analysis. Your objectives are to solve equations for given variables and to use formulas to solve real-world problems. What we'll be doing is taking formulas and other equations and solving them for different variables. Be aware, your answer will not simply be something like x equals 5. Your answers will look very complicated, so expect that. Also, expect to not be able to combine a lot of unlike terms, so your answer will be quite complicated. Just use the same steps that you have before to solve the equations. Example 1. Solve 2x minus 4y equals 8 for y. Well, in looking at that, y is only on one side of the equation, so let's get rid of everything else. There's a 2x over there that's added or subtracted, and it's positive, so we'll subtract it from both sides. The 2x's cancel from the left, leaving negative 4y, and notice 8 minus 2x stays like that. You cannot combine 8 minus 2x. Now what's over there with the y? A negative 4. It's negative 4 times y, so do the opposite and divide both sides by negative 4. So you can leave your answer like that. Y equals 8 minus 2x over negative 4. Notice how they changed it a little bit though? It's not always best to have just a negative number in the denominator. So if you multiply every term by negative 1, you're allowed to do that, and then that will make everything look a little bit more polished. 8 becomes minus 8, minus 2x becomes positive 2x, and negative 4 becomes 4. Example 2. Solve 3m minus n equals km minus 8 for m. So I have m's on both sides, so I need to get them on the same side. Add or subtract to move one of them over. Since there's a positive km on the right, let's subtract it from both sides to move it to the left. Now I have all my m's on the left. Let's get the non-m terms over to the right. And I have a minus n on the left. So let's add n to move the n's over to the right. At this stage, I have my m's together on the left now. The way to combine them is to use the distributive property. Factor out the m, and in parentheses, put the coefficients, 3 minus the variable k. Now what's over there with m? It's m times the quantity 3 minus k. So do the opposite and divide both sides by the 3 minus k. It cancels out on the left, leaving m, and on the right we have this. Notice they also tweaked this a little bit to make it look a little bit better, and they said negative 8 plus n is better written n minus 8, but either answer is correct. One last thing, since the denominator can never be 0, you need to specify that k cannot equal 3, because if k is 3, then the denominator would be 0. Solve each equation or formula for the variable indicated. Number 1. ax minus b equals c. Solve it for x. Well, the x's are on the same side, so let's move everything else over. Add or subtract first. You have a b that's subtracted, so add b to both sides. The b's cancel on the left, leaving a times x, and that equals c plus b on the right. Do not try to combine c plus b because they're unlike terms. Continuing to solve for x, that's a times x. Do the opposite and divide both sides by a. The a's cancel on the left, leaving x, and you have c plus b over a on the right. Remember, expect to get complicated answers. If there are like terms, combine them, but don't expect to get very many like terms to combine. Number 3, the quantity x plus f, the quantity, plus 2 equals j. Solve for x. Well, the x's are all on one side of the equal sign. So now let's get rid of everything else. Add or subtract first. There's a 2 added, so let's subtract 2 to move it to the other side. 2's cancel on the left, and you have j minus 2 on the right. There's a f that's added to the x on the left. Subtract it to move it to the right. So x equals j minus 2 minus f. Those are all unlike terms, so it stays like that. Number 5, x times the quantity 4 minus k equals p. Solve for k. Well, I have an x times everything where the k is, so let's get rid of the x and divide both sides by the x. Since it's x times everything else, the x's will cancel, leaving 4 minus k, and that equals p divided by x. Now there's a 4 over there. It's a positive 4, so subtract it from both sides. Negative k equals p over x minus 4. Now when you have negative k, finishing it is easy. Either multiply both sides by negative 1 or divide both sides by negative 1. The result is the same. We'll multiply both sides by negative 1. That'll change every sign. Negative k becomes k, p over x becomes negative p over x, and minus 4 becomes plus 4. Number 7, 4 times the quantity r plus 3 equals t. Solve for r. The r's are all on one side of the equal sign. And notice, here's another one where the variable we want is inside a quantity, and there's something times that. The 4 is times that. Do the opposite and divide both sides by the 4 to move the 4. The 4's cancel on the left, leaving r plus 3. And on the right you have t divided by 4. Now you have r plus 3. Move the 3, do the opposite, and subtract it from both sides. 3's cancel on the left, and you have t over 4 minus 3. Remember, the variable you're solving for has to be by itself before you're finished. Number 9. X times the quantity 1 plus y equals z. Solve for x. Well, you have x times that quantity. Get rid of the quantity and divide both sides by 1 plus y. The 1 plus y's cancel on the left, leaving x, and you have z over 1 plus y. Number 11. D equals RT. Solve for r. Well, there's a t over there with the r. It's t times r. Do the opposite and divide both sides by the t. The t's cancel on the right, leaving d over t. d over t equals r. Remember, you're not finished until the variable you're solving for is by itself. Once it's by itself, you're done. Number 13. C equals 5/9 times the quantity f minus 32. Solve for f. Well, the f's are all on one side, and they're inside that quantity. So let's get rid of the number that's multiplied by the quantity. That's 5/9 times the quantity, So get rid of that. Remember, to get rid of a fraction times something, you need to multiply both sides by the reciprocal. So multiply both sides by 9/5. 9/5 times 5/9 is 1, so it cancels out. So you have 9/5 c equals f minus 32. Solving for f, get rid of the 32. It's being subtracted, so add it to both sides. It cancels out on the right, and you have 9/5 c plus 32 equals f. F is now by itself, so you're finished. Number 15. A equals L times W. Solve for L. Well, that's L times W. To get rid of the W, do the opposite and divide both sides by the W. W's cancel on the right, and you have A over W equals L. Remember for these, expect your answer to be complicated and to not be just one final number where L equals 3. It's not going to be like that at all. Now the whole reason we're making our formulas like this, where we're solving them for other variables, is in case we know everything except that variable. So we shuffle the formula around, solve it for the variable that we don't know, substitute in values for the variables we do know, and we can find an answer to a question a whole lot easier. So consider the formula C equals pi d. That's the circumference of a circle, where d is the diameter and c is the circumference. Pi is pi. If you have an airplane that can fly around the Earth at the equator, he would travel about 24,900 miles. Find the diameter. Well, notice in our formula, it's solved for c. We're looking for d. So what they do is they solve the formula for d by dividing both sides by pi, and now you have d equals c over pi. Now substitute in your values. C is 24,900, so that goes in for c. Pi is about 3.14, and now you can work it out. The diameter is about 7,930 miles. So we'll do these, solving the formulas for the variables that we don't know, and we'll substitute in values for the variables we do know, and we can find the final answer much faster. Number 1. The volume of a cylinder V is given by the formula V equals pi r squared h, where r is the radius and h is the height. A. Solve the formula for h. Well, since that's pi r squared times the h, you can get rid of the pi r squared by dividing both sides by pi r squared. The pi r squared cancels on the right, and you have h equals v over pi r squared. B. Find the height of a cylinder with volume 2,500 pi feet and radius 10 feet. Well, let's use the formula we just found. H equals, the numerator is V, and the volume is 2,500 pi. Divided by pi times the radius squared, and the radius is 10. So just substitute the numbers that they give you and solve for the one that you don't know. Ten squared is 100, so that's really 100 pi in the denominator. And when you divide that out, the height is 25 feet. So solve the formula for the variable you're looking for, and then use the new formula, substitute in the numbers they give you, and solve for the one you're looking for. Number 2. The water pressure of a submerged object is given by P equals 64D, where P is the pressure in pounds per square foot and D is the depth of the object in feet. A. Solve the formula for D. So, P equals 64D. What's over there with D? The 64. That's a 64 times D, so do the opposite and divide both sides by 64. 64 cancels on the right, giving you P over 64. And that's what D is. And you can rewrite it, D equals P over 64. B. Find the depth of a submerged object if the pressure is 672 pounds per square foot. Well, use the formula we just had, where D equals P over 64. What's P? 672. And that's over 64. So work that out. And D is 10.5 feet. Solve the formula for the variable that they ask for. Substitute in the values for the other variables and solve for yours. Number 3. The equation of a line containing the points a, 0 and 0, b is given by the formula x over a plus y over b equals 1. A. Solve the equation for y. Well, the y's are all on one side. So now let's look. You have a fraction x over a that's added to the y fraction. So let's subtract that fraction and move it to the other side. X over a minus x over a is 0, so it cancels from the left, leaving y over b. And on the right side, you just have 1 minus x over a. Now you have y divided by b, so do the opposite and multiply both sides by b. The b's cancel on the left, and now you have b parentheses 1 minus x over a. Don't worry about using the distributive property or anything there. You can leave that answer like it is. B. Suppose the line contains the points 4, 0 and 0, -2. If x equals 3, find y. Well, look at the original question. A was in the point a, 0. And we have the point 4, 0. So A is going to be 4. In the original question, B is in the point 0, b. And we have the point 0, -2. So B will be -2. X is 3. Now substitute. Y equals B, which is -2, parentheses 1 minus the fraction x over a. X is 3 and a is 4. So let's work it out. Do parentheses first. 1 minus 3/4 is 1/4. And -2 times 1/4 is -2/4, which reduces to -1/2. So solve the formula for the variable they ask. Substitute in the other values they give you, and find the value that you're looking for. The surface area of a rectangular solid is given by the formula x equals 2lw plus 2lh plus 2wh, where L equals length, W equals width, and H equals height. A. Solve the formula for H. Well, if you look, there's H's on the right in two separate groups there. Let's subtract the 2lw to move it to the left, since it doesn't have any H's in it. That gives you x minus 2lw on the left, and on the right, 2lw minus 2lw is 0, so it cancels, leaving 2lh plus 2wh. Now, Since both of those terms have a h, you can use the distributive property, factor out the h, and in parentheses, put the rest of it. For the first term, 2L. For the second term, 2W. Now you have h times that quantity. Do the opposite operation and divide by it. Divide both sides by 2L plus 2W. The 2L plus 2W cancels on the right, leaving h, and that equals x minus 2LW all over 2L plus 2W. B. The surface area of a rectangular solid with length 6 centimeters and width 3 centimeters is 72 square centimeters. Find the height. So we're solving for h. Now substitute the rest of it. X is the surface area, which is 72, minus 2 times length, which is 6, times width, which is 3, all over 2 times L, which is 6, plus 2, which is 3 for W, and now everything's substituted in. Let's work that out and find the height. In the numerator, 2 times 6 times 3 is 36. In the denominator, 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 3 is 6. Simplify some more. 72 minus 36 is 36. 12 plus 6 is 18. And 36 divided by 18 is 2. And that's centimeters. So remember for these, solve for the variable they ask for, and remember that the answer will not be simple. It'll be very complicated looking, but still do your opposite operations, get the variable you're solving for on its side by itself, and everything else will be on the other side. Finally, substitute in the values they give you, and solve it out.